Good morning and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folarin, reaching you from Lagos, southwest of the country, where we're broadcasting from. Today, we'll look at that visit on Tuesday by the elders of the Niger Delta to President Muhammadu Buhari, and depends on how you want to look at it. Some people called it a shopping list. They did have 17 demands or so, and it was all, towards furthering peace and development, and in particular, as the elders had said, so that the authorities would know the mindset of the elders of the region as they go forward, meeting with whoever. Well, my guest this morning, Comrade Joseph Evah, coordinator, Ijo Monitoring Group. Thank you very much for coming on, as always.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Indeed. And Dr. Amadele Boyo. Dr. Boyo is a public affairs analyst. Thank you very much for coming on, Amadele. Yeah. Let me start with you, Comrade Joe. That meeting, it's been getting mixed reactions. On the one hand, of course, depending on how you sit on in relation to this question, you say it was a timely meeting, but there are others who are also criticizing some of the demands in there. For instance, just taking one off the top, the whole matter of a demand, as it were, for ownership of oil blocks. Give me your impressions on the meeting and what you think it can achieve.
The meeting is necessary. Even in the Bible, God told his people, come, let us reason together. So those who are criticizing why should we meet with Niger Delta people, this and that, even in your house as a family, husband, wife, children, if you don't sit down and reason, you have problem, because outsiders will come and create problem for you. So this type of meeting is necessary because in the first place, some people will go and tell the president something else, and now the president wants to hear from them. Not that the president don't know what to do. He was a former minister of Petroleum. He knows our environment very well. And he knows the kind of leaders also that we have. He knows our problem. And that is why sometimes we wonder that people who know even the problem, they will wait until there is problem, countless number of problems, before they will now assemble people in the name of meeting. Why? And this is the reason why Nigeria is like this in every sector, whether it is education, health, or this and that. People know what to do, but they will now wait until there is problem in that sector.
In other words, the political will often is lacking.
Yes.
Sometimes. Okay, Amadele, how do you see this meeting? Because nothing new really was presented, but that the meeting held at all.
Yeah, the meeting held at all. We thank God for that. But you see, in a democratic setting where all these areas have representatives in the houses of assembly in the states, and in the Federal House of Representatives, and also at the Senate level. And then they have ministers in the government. The purpose of politics, governance, and institutions is not to be doing things when there's crisis. These are things that should be regular talk shops. People should be talking every time. We should be knowing what is going on. And for elders to gather to see the president is good. But it's also an indictment, because if elders, they say that the elders will not be in the market and the child carried on the back, the head will bend to one corner, elders ought to have prevented crisis. But now they are meeting in the midst of crisis. And I see that as a not too pleasant part of it. So I will say that there's an indictment on the politicians at the various levels of government from that part of the country, and that the elders that are coming together are not the elected people. They are what we call elders. They are being stakeholders. Is very much debatable, but we give them the honor of their age, their experiences. DTSP, a former governor, Ike Clark, a former then Bender State Commissioner for Education and Midwest in those days. And so I give them their respect. They did a good job.
There was also His Royal Majesty DTSP.
Yeah, one-time governor of the then Old River State, you know. But at the end of the day, what we are saying is that there's nothing new in what was said. There's nothing new what was said. All they said is still the same old stuff. Maybe they are now looking for political will and getting those things timeline for implementation of those 16 points. I'll give you an example very quickly.
Sure.
Yeah, even within themselves, the Maritime University I'm talking about already exists. The Maritime Academy exists in Oron. It was the...
Because that was one of the demands. They did demand approval of the Maritime University.
Yeah, but then the Maritime University bill was promoted by manager, the senator, and it was killed because the Niger Deltans from Akwa Ibom wanted the Maritime Academy in Oron to be transformed to a university because they've been in existence for 30 years. And they kicked against a new maritime university. So it has nothing to do with the north, with the southeast, or with the southwest. It's an internal problem that the Niger Delta and School have met with the people from Akwa Ibom. Why don't we have two? There's an academy going on there offering HND and OND and for seafarers, and then there's one coming up in Delta called the Maritime University. Let it two go on. It was the Akwa Ibom with the connivance of the minority leader of the Senate, former governor of Akwa Ibom State, that said, look, we have a maritime university in Oron, which happens to be his constituency, that's Akpabio. And so why are we going to have another university again? So they killed it then. Then you don't blame the other parts of Nigeria. It's an internal wrangling that should be resolved. Then they said they wanted increased surveillance. I mean, they want to...
Okay, well, you just had to give me one example, and I'll come back to you for sure. Comrade Joe, some of the things, for instance, he was just touching on the whole matter of security surveillance, improved security surveillance, and protection of oil and gas infrastructure. Now, it's interesting the elders are talking about this in terms of demands from the FG. I wonder, to what extent do you think this very concept has been explored within the Niger Delta?
Well, you see, even I wonder when some people are even criticizing and even trying to blackmail the Niger Delta leaders by saying they are demanding for contract. That's how they blackmail us. And that's why we get angry. Like cases of Tompolo matter. Tompolo is a contractor, like Dangote. He's a businessman. Now you come up with one story or the other, and you think that we are fool, when we know that the richest woman in Nigeria, Chief Mrs. Alakija, our oil block is in Ezetu, in Tompolo village. Fanfa oil is in Ezetu, and you say that Tompolo cannot do business? You are looking for trouble. Well, so when we're talking about security for the pipelines,
yes,
pipelines pass my community. Now we are saying that we want to protect these pipelines. You want to bring somebody else to come to my community in Petroleum to guide pipeline? Let us be sincere. Why is this country, some people like to blackmail us?
Yeah,
and when we're angry, they say we are militant.
But Comrade, if I understand it properly, this was one of the demands put before the federal government in the meeting with the president. And I was asking the question that, look, don't you think this kind of a question could also bear a lot of fruit if directed within? Say, look, guys, you young men, you whatever they call you from the outside, they might call you militants or whatever, we got to do something for our area. Because that's another criticism that, look, the Niger Delta does require its own special status. But first of all, how much has it really done for itself by its leaders through the humongous amounts of money that have been devoted to the place?
All this devotion or devotion, you are just saying it. Physically, you don't see that amount.
Whose fault?
But whose fault? Isn't that the fault of the authorities in the Niger Delta through the decades?
Okay, for example, NDDC, federal government is owing NDDC 600 billion naira. The traditional rulers are in court. They are in court. The traditional rulers are in court against the federal government. Is it fair?
I think
so. So you don't think the leadership of the Niger Delta bears that much responsibility for?
We have been saying it time without number. For example, why are the elders, old men like Chifike Clark, who is about 90 years, going to see the president? He's supposed to be resting. It's because to conduct election in the Niger Delta, the federal government, to conduct election in the Niger Delta, you don't have free and fair election. So most of the people that are in the National Assembly, you in your conscience also know, even throughout this country, 60% of the people there were not elected. You know that. So the people don't respect the people that were not elected. So they will not listen to the people that are not elected, who are just parading themselves as senator, House of Reps and all that. So they will not listen to them. The president of Nigeria himself is aware.
So you are alleging that there's a representative gap
everywhere throughout the country.
Well, Amadili, you wanted to come in.
Yes, I wanted to come in because
on this question of how much has the Niger Delta really done for themselves, which is not to say that they don't require any special status.
From the outset, I want to also lay claim to be a stakeholder in the Niger Delta. Now, you asked a question about protecting of the oil pipeline. This doesn't bring in Mrs. Alakija, for goodness sake. Neither does it bring in Tompolo himself. If Tompolo is a contractor, he goes to business. He had come up as a stakeholder and things like that. If you want to protect oil pipelines, in the first place, these oil pipelines did not get destroyed as a result of corrosion. They didn't get destroyed as a result of weathering or atmospheric effects. They got destroyed by people that deliberately vandalized the oil pipelines.
No, if you say that is wrong. You cannot say
Can I
all
finish?
that. I went to court
when
and
you were
stopped dredging of River Niger because of the pollution in our environment.
When you were talking, I allowed you to talk.
Okay.
I allowed you to talk. Can you allow
gentlemen,
me to talk?
well, please.
Yeah, let me talk.
Please.
Let me talk.
You'll get your chance. Although I think I have to go to a break. Maybe I'll just go to a quick break and I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere, please. Welcome back. We got Comrade Joseph Evah and Dr. Omadele Boyo in the studio, and we're looking at that visit by Niger Delta and elders on Tuesday to the president, and their now quite famous 17-point demand. Included two of those points were, one, increased surveillance within the Niger Delta, and then, generally security surveillance, and then the protection of national assets, pipelines that are vandalized quite frequently. And so I had put the question that the Niger Delta elders and authorities surely have blame here. It's good that they put it before the president, but it's their domain. They are closest to the people in a grassroots sort of sense. How much have they done before bringing this out and now saying that this is a demand to the federal government?
I think you should be very specific about what they said, and I'll read it out. They want pipeline surveillance.
Yes.
Pipeline surveillance contracts given to the communities rather than individuals in a manner that it is of some benefits to their community.
Okay.
And that's what has been going on over the years.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the individuals that were giving the contracts to monitor pipelines were from Niger Delta.
Yeah.
They were not being given to maybe one Alaji or one chief from Europe. I'm from Niger Delta. Over the years, the last dispensation at least, the surveillance of the pipelines was given to some people. And that's why we had some respite. But they are now saying that they want these contracts to be given to the communities. Now, communities have to also develop themselves. Like we have in Lagos, we have what they call the CDAs, Community Development Agencies or Community Development Associations. The question is that do we have notable, significant, empowered communities in these areas with defined leadership? And can they be able to monitor the pipelines that pass through the area? If they can, great.
Okay, let me find out.
So give it to them.
What do you think, Joe, about that position?
Now you find out that throughout the Jonathan era, because these pipelines are managed by the communities, so there is no problem. So if you have the traditional ruler, like the Tespif in his community in Brass, and he knows very well that all the gas pipeline and oil pipeline there, the community use are the security there. Nobody will go and tamper with those things. If the community youth themselves want to obstruct production there, they themselves will police the place and deal with the person.
Which is the point I was making. So why did you take that kind of a thing to Aso Rock?
Now, because the government has stopped those pipeline security contracts for the people from that area, insisting that it is military people, it is army people who don't know the terrain and all that. Before the Bayelsa governorship election, I came to this studio.
They also wanted the effects, as they put it, of the army presence in the Niger Delta to be addressed. Really, that really means we want you to pull the army out.
Yes, because the army cannot secure the Niger Delta area. There is no way.
Even
here in Lagos, OPC is helping the police to secure communities.
And I like that word help.
Help. Exactly.
Help means it is the duty of the police. We assist everywhere in the world. Communities assist the police. That's why you have what they call community policing. Now, when you totally give over the job of the police or the military to communities to do, the initial plan, which happened in last dispensation, was that individuals had this contract. Individuals, not communities. You remember the story of how some of these guys became very rich and wealthy overnight, getting 400 million to safeguard pipelines. The government found out that these individuals were living fat and the money was not trickling down to the communities. And the question I still asked, which I'm here to get an answer for, is that are these communities organized in a way? Because there is no point you destroy pipelines and I give you money to protect pipeline. It just looks like a vicious cycle. You destroy it so I can pay you to protect it. If these young people in communities were all in universities and they were professors and doctors and lawyers and the literacy rate was 90% and most of these people are working, they wouldn't even have time to start saying they want to. These pipelines are not being destroyed by ants and elephants and antelopes.
Or by elements external to the Niger Delta.
They're being destroyed by people. Now, if I want to tell a cat to take care of a rat and I start paying the cat so that rat will not die, and I know that the cat lives on rats, what I'm simply telling the cat to do is to protect something that it will likely eat. I don't mind giving the money to the community, but please, let the community be very well organized. And let it be that we are not doing self-destruct and then self-reconstruct and then self-policing. If we want to make sure that these things are well protected, let them be well protected. And two, the police is in every local government area in Nigeria. Every local government area in Nigeria has a DPO and has police. They have SSS. They have every other thing. So the community must work hand in hand with established security agents. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, sure. Well, maybe enough said on that particular point, because the president did say, among other things, that look, it's not going to be a quick fix. Yeah. This matter, it's a very intricate matter.
Yes.
Some of the things we've talked about this morning factor into this whole matter. One of the more controversial.
Sorry, you've not answered my own. Is it not possible that this issue of letting the community protect the pipeline is simply saying money for the boys?
Well, that's why I said.
Well, some of the time when you even talk money for the boys, when people like
I didn't want to get bogged down here.
When people like Danjuma don't know what to do with oil money, which money for the boys and which are the boys? If General Danjuma don't know what to do with oil money in this country, and he said, I am helpless with oil money, the money is too much, insulting us, and people will come and say, money for the boys. The boys are the owner of the money.
Yeah, I don't know why. Well, as I said, that has
the
been
boys are the owner of the money.
That has been.
We will not allow this country to intimidate us, and that was why, Mr. Yomi, I went to court and stopped the dredging of River Niger. That will not allow our water to go to Baro in the name of River Niger dredging. You are insulting us. If Danjuma said that he does not know what to do with oil money, you are not talking about oil for the money for the boys. Is it not the oil money?
Okay.
Is it Danjuma oil money?
Okay, I hear you, Comrade.
No, because I'm calling names because some people think in this country they can just intimidate us. We are past that level.
Oh, okay.
In this country.
The whole matter, the more controversial.
We are past that insult.
I think that has been recorded.
Money for the boys. Who are the boys?
That feeling has been recorded, and as you say, they are Niger Deltans anyhow, and so
anybody who pushes us to the wall will fight back in this country. This country that we are feeding. Some people are training cows in this country in the name of nomadic education. Then you come and insult us. Money for the boys. Are the boys not the owner of the money?
Pick up the matter of
General Danjuma who said that he does not know what to do with oil money. Is he not the owner of the oil?
Pick up the matter of oil blocks that was also controversially spoken about. A lot of people thought that, why did you bring the matter of oil blocks into this whole matter?
Yes, because people like General Danjuma say, I don't know what to do with oil money. You are in this country and when he said it. And he's publishing the paper. Nobody arrested him because he's above the law. Nobody arrested him.
You know why we're still going in that direction? Like, it's not the shouting that makes the sense. I'm an equally a stakeholder like him.
Some people are stakeholders in this country and they are betrayers of that region. That is the problem we are facing.
My village has more oil than his village, most likely. But what we are saying now is this, that
so some people come out because we are from that area. Some people come from that area. Don't you know what happened to Kensarawa? Don't you know how the Kensarawa was killed?
It's not the shouting that makes the point.
The shouting makes point in this country. And that's why we are getting that way. If not in this country, we are called on second-class citizens. By the shouting, we were able to produce president in this country. By the shouting, we are able to produce president in this country.
Okay.
People say we are second-class citizens. We cannot produce president of Nigeria. We are produced president of Nigeria in this country in our lifetime. We are break that chain that says we are second-class citizens. We were shouting and we were able to get it.
Okay, I want to.
Our president, our children will also become president of Nigeria in this country.
I register. I recognize what I'm recognizing here is that
our shouting has given us presidency in this country in our lifetime. Jehovah God Almighty is great. I doff my heart to Jehovah God Almighty. That will produce president of Nigeria in this country. Our children will correct what the mistakes of Jonathan. Our children will correct it. Jehovah God Almighty is God. Now, insult us and intimidate us, the money for the price. Does he know the color of crude oil in this country?
I think that point has been made, and you've made it very clearly. But if you could address the other question that they also brought up about the review of the amnesty program. Amadili, I beg of you. This review, I imagine that's another place where you have very strong feelings. The request that the amnesty program be reviewed.
Yes. We thanked President Buhari when he emerged and said that the amnesty program will continue. some people who are from that region, from this our region, they were trying to manipulate the president. The president knows very well that if there is insecurity in that Niger Delta, it will be very difficult to contain, because he knows that the level of the sophistication of some people in that place, he will not listen to bad advisors from that area. We say, don't mind them. We just send military and crush them. What are they talking about? The president said the amnesty program will continue. We doff our heart for him. Then we are begging him. Listen to people like Dr. Spieth, pioneer governor of Old River State. He's listening to them. Listening to people like Ike Clark. The president is listening to them. So when we say review the amnesty program, what we are trying to say is that we want engagement of these young people. Engagement. They are fishing trawlers. In fact, now, I am begging the president in the name of God, invite all the Niger Delta governors. Ask them, why don't they have fishing trawlers? The Atlantic Ocean is open. Businessmen in Lagos will carry fishing trawler, go and get catch from our area, bring them to Apapa Jetty, Krikri Jetty. They will package them inside carton, return them back again to Niger Delta to sell for us in the market. What are these idle governors? What are they doing? When I saw them sitting down in the name of this very dialogue, I expected Buhari to arrest all of them and ask them, do you people need demonic spirit? What is your problem? That you cannot create job for the young people. Our review of the amnesty program is for our young people to be engaged, because the idle brain is the devil workshop. If rubber plantation is in Sapele and some other area, in Benin area and other, what are these rubber plantations doing when the byproduct crude can provide textile for us in the Niger Delta?
Indeed. I got to go on a break now. I got to go on a quick break, and then I'll come back. You know, you will have chance. You will have chance. We will be right back. Stay with us, please. Welcome back. Getting quite feisty. Okay, moving over to Dr. Amadili Boyo now. So many points, and we have questioned why indeed they had to go, but then we've you know, sort of theorized that perhaps the representative kind of a gap, if, according to Comrade Joe, we know how we win elections in this place, so they might not have the moral authority. So these elders now have to go. Now, the cleaning up of Ogoni land, the environmental, you know, remediation, as they've put it, that's an important one, and that concerns just about everybody. That has started, actually. And so, you know, I don't know why it was brought up again, because Buhari sort of, you know, reignited attention in that area. Would you agree?
Yes, I agree with that, because the vice president, on behalf of the president, launched the cleanup of Ogoni land, and it's going on. And I expected them to be able to tell us exactly what is the problem. Is it that it is too slow, or money is not being released for that program?
Because it can't be an overnight operation, as everybody knows.
It's going to take like 20 years.
Yeah.
And it's going to take like 20 years. It's going to take billions of dollars over 20 years. Because I'm cleaning up environmental pollution. It's not like wiping off stain from the rug in the sitting room. So it's going to take time. So I think they mentioned it there to keep it in the front burner, so that the president will not at any time, because this is a new government that came in now, you launch something, please don't forget to continue to supervise it and make sure it is constantly in the front burner and something is done to the end that it is eventually finished. Because it takes time, it will take money, and again, you know, like we talk about trickle-down economics. When this cleanup is going, we expect that some of it will trickle down to the fact that some people in that area will have some jobs. When I mean jobs, I'm not talking about jobs for the boys. I'm talking about actual economic empowerment. When you are cleaning up like that, the process of cleaning up, people selling water, people selling foodstuff, and then engineers will get jobs, technicians will get jobs, artisans will get jobs. So the cleanup program is not just coming to use broom and sweeping or something. It's a process that involves,
and it's going to take a long time. And as you said, it might be to just keep it on the front burner.
Yes, keep it on the front burner.
Comrade Joe, a very one that is really national is just that the Niger Delta elders brought it up. The whole matter of the introduction of fiscal federalism. Give me your thoughts on that.
Yes. It was before the coup, the military coup of 1966, when the whole thing scattered. You produce something in your area, and whatever you produce, you give percentage to the federal government. But when the military came, they changed the old laws. And that is why we are like this also in the Niger Delta. And for example, Lagos State. I built my house here in Lagos. Lagos State officials will come and stamp something and say that land use laws. That means after even building the house, even after collecting, getting certificate of occupancy, you are still paying something to the government. To the state government. So if you have something in your area, you should be able to tax. For example, the oil companies in the Niger Delta, the governors are supposed to tax the oil companies just like land use here in Lagos State. They are not doing that. It is now that oil price is now down. Money is peppering their highs. Now they are all running around. Bayelsa government, Delta government, they are all looking around, running for money, this and that. They rely on the oil companies to relate with the federal government instead of them to also create their tenement rate, to pay tenement rate. So the fiscal federalism that our people are demanding for is that let us give something to the federal government from whatever we are producing. Lagos State now is talking about special bill, that is special
status.
Yes, and it's right, they are right. Because the money they are making for the federal government, especially the population and business activities here, and when you move around the federal structures like the independent building, you wait for this country. If you go to the race course, you wait for this country, especially the federal secretariat that is facing where Murtala was killed. You wait for this country. What is really happening? How can they manage this, all these decaying, these things that are dying? So if you give Lagos that special area, like what we are demanding for, like now, there is a bill for the Northeast because of the Northeast destruction. No Niger Delta person is against that bill.
Okay.
We cannot be against the bill.
Okay.
If there is anything special for any area, look into the matter and solve the problem. We all know what Boko Haram has done, destroying that Northeast. So if there is a bill to rebuild the Northeast, nobody will be against it.
One moment.
We are all Nigerians.
One moment, please. Mr. Usman, calling in from Ikoyi. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Thank you.
And good morning to your guest.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah. You see, I remember sometimes in 2008 or 9, I think coincidentally, if not you, that also host the same Mr. Joseph Evah. And in his argument, he said that even if the Niger Delta were allowed to control the oil, 100% source control, that they are going to kill themselves. That is not what they are looking for. They are looking for development. So I see he has been consistent in asking for development. This man never asked for money, but all that is asking is development. I remember that time he even said that why is it there is no single company that will produce rubber in the south in the Niger Delta area. And now the same thing again is still saying that no single industry. So you can see these are the kind of people that when you give them appointment to most of these intervention agencies, they can do something for their people. He shows that he loves and cares for his own people, but not for his pocket. But the problem we are having here is that most of the leaders in the Niger Delta, almost 90% of them, they don't care about their people. Now, let me give you a classical example. You look at NDDC, right from Ompadek, 90% of people that are working in Ompadek up to NDDC are from the Niger Delta area. There was no anybody that is from other side apart from them. Why was Niger Delta created? To take care of Niger Delta. And what is happening now? Nothing. Now, the federal government created Ministry of Niger Delta Affairs. 90% of people that are working in Niger Delta Affairs are from the Niger Delta. Why was that military created? It was created solely to take care of all these problems that these people are talking about. Now, you have the amnesty program. 90% of people in that amnesty program are from the Niger Delta. And what is happening there? You find that somebody who stays in outside the country is benefiting from what the real militants are supposed to benefit from. So everything has been messed up. You know, even when Oribebe was the minister of Niger Delta Affairs, you find that he was accusing Chief Edwin Clark that he was giving contract, he collected money, he didn't do the contract, and that contract was in Niger Delta. The same to Oribebe also wrote petitions against Edwin Clark that he was giving a contract and he didn't do it. So you can see it's them fighting themselves. So the problem is, and even the governors are not helping matters. All the money they are collecting, they are not doing anything, just as what Joseph Evah is saying. So I think if the federal government can sit down and look for people like Evah who cares about the development of their people, who have love for them, for their people, and not love for the pocket, and give them this intervention agency, you will find that a lot of development will be done.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Usman. I got to interrupt you, but really do appreciate your call. And Dr. Boyo, this goes back to the point that you were making, really, that how much has really been done that could have been done by the people themselves of the area in the first instance. Very little their critics say.
Yeah, and that's why I agreed with him when he mentioned the governors themselves are not doing much. And that's where he misunderstood my point of saying money for the boys. What I meant by money for the boys, it wasn't to insult anybody, is that giving people money just for maintaining pipeline is not enough. Are you understanding me? Well, there should be trickle-down economics. They should have industries, cottage industries in those areas. Pipeline, yeah, maintain it. But that will not go far. So, like what he said now, he even mentioned it, plastics. So many things are now coming out of petrochemicals. And there's a petrochemical industry at the Leme, and there's a there are refineries there. They are not functional. If these refineries were producing refined petroleum products, we will have activities in those areas. And once refineries are dead, refineries are dead, the environment, just like when university goes on strike and closes down, the environment will die down. Yeah. So we need to wake up the Niger Delta with downstream activities.
Yeah, but I have to take Abraham calling in from Magodo. But I was wondering, so who do you blame for this?
I blame the local government. I blame the state government. I blame the federal government. I blame everybody. And
all right, one second, please. Yes. Abraham is online. Good morning, Mr. Abraham.
Okay, Uncle Yori, thank you. Good morning.
Thank you for calling.
Good morning, Abraham.
Yeah, the gentleman sitting beside Comrade Evah is raising a very, very vital point.
Dr. Boyo.
That again, Mr. Boyo, that Comrade Evah is not listening to. How do you give a pipeline contract to people who are destroying the pipeline? It's not right. You don't do things like that. Because, you see, what the gentleman is saying is that, look, rather than be telling you, we'll give our people pipeline contracts, let them build university, let them go to school, let them build factories, let them build, infrastructure, and so that these people can be properly engaged. But you don't give, it's just like the very good example you gave. You want to give a cat, a rat to watch over a rat, and it's not just done, Now, Comrade Evah, with due respect, he's one guy that I, always respect, because of his view and his agitation for his people. But all the 6 years that President Jonathan was there, you were quiet. If you look at what did President Jonathan did in 6 years for Niger Delta, tell me, because I want to hear from your mouth. Rather, he was putting money in the dual purses. So what two people have turned the agitation into is that, look, this agitation is about individual. It's not really about your community. Because if it's about your community, you have been able to hold President Jonathan accountable for 6 years as the president. I love the fact that you recognize it was God that did it, because you know your heart for God. But what did that man did for 6 years to change the lot of the people of your community? Rather, look at the debt that is on ground. $3 billion, he has $1 billion, they're in private purses, private pockets. I mean, you people need to gather yourself together and talk to yourself. You see, nobody is holding the Niger Delta for ransom. You people are the one holding yourself to ransom.
Okay, then. Thank you very much, Mr. Abraham. Appreciate your call.
Yeah.
Would you like to respond to that?
I hope you give me some more minutes. He's talking out of ignorance.
Well,
yes, because
there is some part of it where he says that.
One area he said that when President Jonathan was in office, we did not challenge him and all that. That means maybe he was not watching television throughout the years of President Jonathan. I was the first activist that mobilized our women to carry placard and even threaten President Jonathan that if he did not pay compensation to the youth corpers that were killed in Benue State, your TV station was in my office. All TV stations throughout the country, they were in my office. And we protested that the youth corpers that were killed must be compensated. The families must be compensated.
Okay,
and we gave Jonathan 7 days.
Okay.
And it was carried on the cover page of all newspapers.
Okay.
Then apart from that, the immigration people that were killed, I was on AIT program, Kakaki program. I said, if Jonathan failed to punish the Immigration Director General and the Minister of Interior for these children that were killed because they are looking for a job, he just in this country, we have no moral right to say we are oppressed in this country. I am still talking today here because everybody in Nigeria know that no, it's not because this person is my brother or this and that. I'm going to express myself and say it.
But that doesn't mean you can take away the blame that Niger Deltans themselves oftentimes are not their own best friends.
Yes, and now let me give you an example. When Obasanjo emerged in 1999, the job monitoring group, our position on this 13%, we sent to President Obasanjo at that time, was that we want the Niger Delta to be developed. I've said it several times on several television stations. We want the Niger Delta to be developed the way Babangida built Abuja, the way Abdul Salam built Abuja, the way Abacha built Abuja. They never spend one kobo, physical cash, to Julius Berger and Kappa. They use our crude, give our crude to Julius Berger and Kappa. We have all the evidence. If you give money in the name of 13%, it is Disco Party that the money will end. Since 1999, I've been saying it, even on one-on-one NTA programs, that the way Babangida built Abuja was not with, it was by trade by barter. Why can't you develop the Niger Delta trade by barter?
Okay.
If you give physical cash to people, it is Disco Party that it will end.
Okay.
So we want the way Babangida used crude, measure the type of development that will go throughout the whole Niger Delta, give our crude to Julius Berger, Kappa. Construction will be going on, they will be collecting our
Yeah, but that's just your idea.
My idea was, it was not taken.
Well, this is just your idea.
But I will continue to pursue it.
But, you know, as a democracy, there must be agreement. There
That
must,
is it.
there must be agreement on how to go.
Yes, my own opinion become a minority something. Now, minority opinion, because it was not carried out by the presidency. Then again, for this one of saying you give rat and this and that, it is not like that. OPC is doing security here in Lagos. Is it people who give OPC money, or when you give them money, they will go and bring robber to come and invade your house? You are living in a community, pipeline pass there. How can you bring mobile policeman to carry gun and say he's protecting oil worker, carry gun? Does it make sense? So if you give these communities the opportunity to guide the pipelines there, and you are also building infrastructures to engage the idle brains, there will be peace in the region. You cannot bring Navy to come to my community, Petroleum, and say, oil workers are working there, oil workers are working there. You will use pistol to guide the workers as they are working. No,
One
it is
moment,
the
please.
community that can guide.
Okay.
So today, the Nigerian police believe in community policing.
I'll take Amadele's reaction, but let me go to a quick commercial break first.
It's up to us.
Okay, we're looking at the home stretch now. Comrade Joe Evah and Amadele Boyo. Dr. Boyo is a medical practitioner and he's also a public affairs analyst. The Joe's idea, brilliant as it is, that look, that's how Abuja was built. You didn't need raw cash. Even if you're going to use that kind of a method, it'll have to be by consensus. And this is a problem, isn't it?
And it has to be appropriated. This is a political era, not military era. That's number one. Number two, Abuja was not really built like that, exactly, because Abuja, I mean, to a large extent, you can appropriate money under a military regime easily, much more than under a political regime, because you have to go through the House. But he was talking specifically about the 13% derivation. That 13% derivation means that there's 500 billion naira for Niger Delta. Yeah. Can we just tell them, look, there's a master plan from Obasanjo's era for master plan. There's an east-west road with a railway line and an expressway crossing Lagos all the way to Calabar on the master plan. There are so many things on the master plan. I think what he's saying is that if this 13% could be given out specifically for projects, these projects will be done, and it will be like turnkey projects, good as it is. But don't forget, most of these things don't turn out like that because...
Okay. I beg your pardon for interrupting you. Mr. George from Ikeja, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Thank you for calling in.
Uncle Yori, I agree with Comrade Evah that the community members should protect the pipeline. But do they have to do this for money? Isn't it a responsibility on their part to ensure that the government properties in their environment is protected? Do they have to be given a contract for it?
I see, Mr. George. Okay, yes. I see. That's your question. Thank you.
That's your question.
Let me ask. I think you can answer it for him.
Me?
because I think he's talking about civic responsibility, really. Yes. But this is going beyond civic because of poverty.
Civic
Are you getting me?
For people who have not eaten for 3 days.
But it is your property.
And that's what. Let me come in here, sir. That's what. Okay. Let me come in here. You see, you mentioned land use and all those property rights and property taxes. These things are going on. These oil companies pay royalties. These oil companies pay taxes. And nothing stops the state government from collecting taxes and developing, like when we talk about Lagos, and we say...
but the point Joe is making is that these monies often are swallowed
by the local governments.
Yes.
Okay, but the fact that they are swallowed by local government doesn't mean that they are not paid for. Now, that Lagos State is able to collect money from me for having a house in Lagos, it's not the federal government. It's the institutions that are built or put in place to go and enumerate how many houses are in Lagos, where are they located, define Ikoyi from Lekki from Surulere, and give me a bill. And if I don't pay, somebody comes around to threaten me or give me a notice that I'm going to pull down my house or I'm going to be locked up. And these things themselves take institutional means to do that. Now, the Niger Delta has on its own, the federal government can come there and begin to do that for you. We expect the leadership at the state level, at a local government level to put it. Now, he's saying
this has
that,
been lacking. This has been lacking
and he's saying that these things are weak.
I got to make sure I get Mr. Adedoyin in from Ikorodu. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir. Mr.
Okay. Go ahead, please.
Yeah. My question is this, and my contribution is this. Joseph Evah.
Good morning.
Joseph Evah.
Yeah, good morning.
In as much as I've always been, I'm always like an advocate of your stand. So far, so good, because I've always been following you. You understand? But at the same time, you need to understand one fact, that Nigeria is a federation. You understand? And anything that comes out from Niger Delta, and don't forget, the money that was used for the infrastructure to build Niger Delta is from Cocoa. Have you forgotten that history? You understand? So this idea of clamoring 30% is not enough, this, that, they have to give you contract, they have to do this, they have to... For God's sake, you can't hold the federal government to ransom.
All right, thank you very much for coming in. Thank you very much.
So I have two issues. I want to tell him to go back to history. When you go back to history, you will know that it was not cocoa that was used to build infrastructures. You cannot tell anybody in this world that Shell and Chevron, Ajip and Mobi, it was cocoa money that was used that you give to Shell and Chevron to go and do investment in the Niger Delta. And let me also tell you, if you go down to history, you will see that it was only the Niger Delta people that were not conquered. We signed protectorate agreement with the British if you read the history of King Jaja of Opobo, if you read the history of Nana, if you go to all our traditional rulers, even before Nigeria was amalgamation came in, our people have been relating with the Europeans. And it was we that were the outlet that even other people come with their produce to ship their either slave or whatever. So you cannot come out that we are powerful commercial businessmen. Go down to your history, you will find out that the robber, even if you go to Queen Elizabeth, I challenge you to go to Queen Elizabeth.
When he was making
what I'm telling you is that the timber from
but
the Niger
Nigeria is
Delta,
a federation.
Nigeria is. I'm coming to that. The timbers that you got from the Niger Delta, they ship them to Europe. They use it to build Queen Elizabeth Palace. Our timbers, our rubbers, our palm produce are all in Europe for the making of a lot of the industrialization of the European people.
But
it
he's
is the
saying
Niger Delta. So you come and cocoa was just okay. You just find cocoa just yesterday.
All right.
Yesterday,
okay.
That you realize that cocoa is part of your produce. We are talking about palm produce and rubber.
Let me add Chukwudi's contribution. Chukwudi, good morning, sir. Are you there, Chukwudi?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, please go ahead now.
I think it would be absurd for somebody to say that those people should go and guide the pipeline without being paid money. What does that mean? It's not hard up. They cannot go there to guide the pipelines for nothing, collecting low salary or whatever.
Okay, so even though it's like the idea of that contributor was that this is my own. So I mean, do I need anybody to tell me to protect my own?
Is the money being given to them? Is the money marked out and given to them? No. It is something that belongs to the whole of Nigeria. It is a Nigerian thing. So everybody should work towards the success of it. And people that work, even in the civil service, it is their work they do. They are also paid. So if they are meant to guide those pipelines, they should be paid for doing that job. But having said that, I believe that this 13% derivation being given to states to share, for the governor to share with his cronies, is better applied in the communities for direct work.
Okay, all right. Better applied in the community. So far as the community has capacity to do that which needs to be done, and it doesn't just become frittered away, as has been happening.
They have the capacity.
You think so?
Can I come in here?
They have the capacity.
Okay.
Can I come in here?
Yes.
Yeah, can I come in here? They don't, for now. They've not. Let me use the word. They've not proven to have had capacity. They may have inherent capacity, but because of corruption, one, and it's a little bit and a little late. The capacity to develop a community is not just human capital alone. It's beyond that. I give you an example of oil block. Winning an oil block is one thing. You can win an oil block and strike zero. You can win an oil block and not be able to. Are you aware that there are many people that won even refinery contracts, and today there's no refinery? Are you aware that many people that have oil blocks and have not been able to develop oil blocks? So going back to it, the capacity is an inherent capacity, is a potential capacity that needs to be developed. One, we in the Niger Delta,
I'm sorry, because we're fast running out of time. I take that statement, which is, and Joe didn't get a chance to comment on it. Capacity might be an issue to doing that which you suggest.
How many minutes do we have? You beg the president for something?
No, you just have 45 seconds.
Oh, so let me use the opportunity, not answer your question, but beg the president to invite all the Niger Delta governors, lock them inside a room. These are our problem, our major problem. The Southwest governors, when Ebola happened, you see the way they mobilized. They were not even talking about political differences. All the governors and their commissioners, they mobilized to Lagos and they took measures that saved the Ebola.
Because it was an emergency.
So now we have emergency situation.
Life and death emergency.
President Buhari should mobilize the Niger Delta governors, put them inside a dark room, ask them questions, hold their ears and say, why can't they have 100 fishing trawlers each state and empower the young people that are roaming about?
Okay.
We have a lot of fishes in our Atlantic Ocean. If the oil companies have polluted our creek and everywhere, what of the Atlantic Ocean that you see Eleganza trawlers are going to Akasa area to get their cash? We told them, yes, something is wrong with us.
All right, then.
We should package the governors and hold their ears because we are in an emergency situation.
Okay,
unemployment
yet it's exploding in the Niger Delta.
Same objective.
Our Niger Delta
same objective, I would think,
problem. They need
but
deliverance.
widely divergent methodologies to arriving. I think that is what has come out, and maybe that's part of the reason why the president said, look, because we want as many people as possible on board, it's not going to be a quick fix. Thank you very, very much, Dr. Madili-Boyo, for coming on.
I didn't have my 45 seconds.
Okay, take 10 seconds.
All right, 10 seconds. I want to say that, like what he said, there's a need for unity of purpose among the governors. There's a need for everybody, every stakeholder from the local government through the states, for the House of Representatives, to take the bull by the horns and tell themselves that we can develop our state. And we should use the money. Several capacities have been given in terms of 13% national the allocation every month to develop infrastructure, develop capacity in the states, so that these states can be developed even without getting this 13%.
Much more than 10 seconds, but I'll take it. Thank you very, very much, Dr. Madili-Boyo and Comrade Joe Evah. Thank you very much.
President, we are begging you.
I'll be back tomorrow with a fresh edition of the program. I'm Yori Folarin. Bye-bye for now.